So in this project, we're going to be talking about the movie industry and stunt operations and how robots are being produced to help with that. So a little introduction on Stuntronics is that they were created by the Walt Disney World Imagineers. And the Stuntronics is basically a robot that enables superhuman flight through the application of robotic applications and technologies into the movie and stunt industry. The usage of stunts is very common in the movie industry and it's very big. And now, with the use of robots, they are able to capture much better footage and like images of superhero flying, where the human body wouldn't be able to stay in same positions for as long as the robots can. So they have been very helpful to for that industry.
Each Stuntronic comes equipped with numerous sensors which allow it to flip, twist, make any number of acrobatic movements, and with repeatability and precision, this allows for very human-like movements and repeatability with a robot in which you do the same movement over and over again, unlike a human stunt performer, which can have variations from take to take.
When we talk about specifications for this robot, it's very important to know that its height is 70 inches or like 5 feet 8. It weighs about 88 pounds and it has three main sensors. One of them is the inertial measurement unit, or the IMU. It has internal joint sensors and laser rangefiers. It has an actuator, which is a GC motor, and the materials that were able to make the robot is mainly aluminum and 3D plastics.
So what is an IMU? The Stuntronic is equipped with one. It's a device that measures the angle and force. The sensor allows for 10 degrees of freedom, and it does that by using a bunch of gyroscopes and accelerometers to measure angle and force respectively. For the Stuntronic specifically, it uses the gyroscopes to keep track of where it is in the air and how many flips it's completed, and the accelerometer measures how fast it's going and how much it needs to tuck in order to stick the landing and not, fall over or anything like that. The Stuntronic is very capable of landing on its feet, and the IMU allows it to do that.
As said in the specifications, we have internal joint sensors in this robot. They are used to obtain information about the robot itself. So the joints use sensors made out of position sensors, velocity sensors, acceleration sensors, motor torque sensors. So all of this information is given and presented to the people who are in charge of the robot to make sure that like it's flying in the right direction, that like it has the position that it needs to like do all of the jumps, and to make sure that the robot is acting the way that it should be, so they can get the shots and do the stunts that the human body wouldn't be able to do.
The Stuntronic is also equipped with 3 laser rangefinders. These allow it to see where it is and when it needs to tuck or flip in order to land and not fall on its face. The laser rangefinder works by emitting a beam of light, and that light bounces against an object and comes right back into the rangefinder, and that distance is measured between the sensor and the object. That allows the Stuntronic to see how far it is from the ground, which helps with velocity adjustments, and it also allows it to see how fast it's approaching the ground by continuously using that sensor over and over again to see when it needs to tuck in order to get that perfect landing every time.
When asked the question why are Stuntronics or robots like this needed, they are needed for a safer movie making experience. The movie industry and stunt industry is very big, and there has been like multiple incidents of like accidents where like stunt artists got hurt in the making of a movie and things like that. So by using a robot, that reduces the level of risk for those artists by a lot, if not at all. With Stuntronic robot, stunts teams test new ways of like creating new tricks without having the human body being the guinea pig, for example. It makes it for a more safer movie making. It makes it for a more interesting scenes, like they can make the superhero do more crazy things because they're not actually putting a human in jeopardy. They're just using a robot who is lifeless. A good example of this is like Tom Cruise testing the new stunts for Mission Impossible. Another good example is using the Stuntronics in Spider-Man. Like all of these movies, new movies coming out, they have like very different stunts that are performed, and mainly most of them are done by robots, so there's no human life putting in danger in the making of these.
Because Stuntronics are in its infancy, there are only a couple of practical applications at this moment, one of which is that it's currently being employed at Disney's California Adventure at the Avengers campus to bring Spider-Man to life. In the show, you can see Spider-Man swinging from web to web, which is actually the Stuntronic doing flips above the crowd. In the future, it can be used on film sets. Eventually, they will be part of movie sets, and they'll make film sets a lot safer by performing stunts too dangerous for actors. Specifically, Tom Cruise jumping out of a helicopter, or the numerous times we love to set people on fire for film, all done by a robot. That way you do not have to risk a human life in order to make a stunt happen.
When talking about Stuntronics being commercialized yet, they have not been commercialized yet, but the Imagineers at Disney World think that they are on the right path to be able to do so. In the future, Stuntronics will be able to help film sets by completing stunts too dangerous for humans to perform, and to allow movies to be a little more radical or like a little bit more dangerous than it would be if the stunt person was a human being. To conclude this presentation, we can talk about how we've been talking about how the Centronics have been revolutionizing the movie making industry. It allows for high energy stunts without risking crew and stunt artists. While doing it, they have very different sensors. They have laser range fires, they have IMUs, joint sensors that allow the Centronics to make flips, twists, land, like make human-like movements without risking somebody's life in the making. The technology is currently still in the process of testing, and it has not been commercialized yet, but it can be seen at Disney, and the main movie that it has been used for is Spider-Man, as we can see in the picture and the PowerPoint right now. So it is something that will be getting bigger and bigger in the future, and probably will revolutionize how movies are made, and like how the stunt industry will move in the future. Thank you.